Hello and welcome, it's Lucas here. I'll give you a little bit of backstory before we jump into the course itself. I started training teachers way back in 2006, and we have thousands of graduates, 3,500 in fact, teaching in 41 countries. During all these years, our courses, our structure, even the location of our courses has changed really dramatically, and the yoga market has changed as well. A couple of years ago, I sat down with my training team and my administrative team, and we said, okay, all these teachers we have, all these courses we've done, what have we done so far? And what would we like to do going forward? And really quickly, we realized there'd been some massive changes in the market that we hadn't been paying attention to, and no one else had been paying attention to either. And I'll share with you those changes now. The first big change was in terms of where yoga happened. I first started teaching in 2003. And back in 2003, if you were a yoga teacher, you worked in a yoga studio or you didn't work at all. That's just what it meant. That's where all the jobs were. So if there wasn't a local yoga studio that you liked, or if you didn't like or get along with the manager or the owner of your local yoga studio, you were just out of luck. There was nowhere to teach. As of 2016 forward, there's actually now more yoga outside of studios than inside. In fact, the minority of yoga happens in studios like this. That means gyms, fitness centers, public sector, private sector, schools, hospitals. A lot of our graduates are teaching privately. The reason this is important is because in the old days when I started, if you didn't have a job at the local studio, you didn't have a job. Now, it's not the case at all. In fact, we have people working in very rural areas, very urban areas, some people teaching totally off the grid doing their own thing. So there's a lot more optionality as a teacher. The next big change is when I first started teaching, myself and all my colleagues, we were kind of like yoga teaching robots. What that means is day in and day out, we'd go into the studio, we'd teach the same class, we'd go home, come back, and we'd do it again. Day in and day out, same class every time. Nobody does that anymore. In my studios, all of my teachers teach at least 5 styles of yoga. Many of them teach 7 or more. What that means is you might wake up and teach a yoga for athletes class, you might have a teen yoga class in the afternoon, and a restorative class for elders in the evening. The reason that's important is because when you think about yoga teaching as a career, as an actual vocation, when you have more places to work, a lot more diversity of work, it really makes the job a lot more interesting and a lot more sustainable long term. The last change seems like a really minor one, but I'm telling you it's a major one, and that is that class lengths are getting shorter. When I first started, every class all around the world was 90 minutes. Now most classes are reducing down to 60 minutes. As more and more people get into yoga, that means more people who don't necessarily have as much disposable time. Now for you as a yoga teacher, the reason this is important is because a typical yoga teacher will teach 2 or 3 classes a day. If you teach 2 or 3 90-minute classes, you're exhausted. 2 or 3 60-minute classes, it's totally doable. Very, very small details, but they've made massive changes in the lives of yoga teachers. More places to work, a lot more variety and diversity in terms of what you can teach, and just better scheduling in general means basically it's a way better time to be a yoga teacher. The challenge is the way that I used to train teachers and the way that most schools still train teachers, they're based on the old model, this old model that just doesn't really exist anymore. So with my team, we sat down and we got really excited about training for the future of yoga, not for the past. We wanted to create a mind-body, fitness-focused course without religion or spirituality. We wanted to create a business-positive course so that people had the business acumen and all the tools needed to be successful, not just the yoga confidence and practical skills. And last but not least, we wanted to really expand our offering so that our course curriculum was many times more than what any other course offered. This is where the Yoga Teachers College was born, and we couldn't be more excited about how it's been going. It's a blended course, and we created this online-offline fusion when we looked at what a lot of the graduate programs were doing at universities. The big advantage is you can study more without totally turning your life upside down. And so we're able to attract busy professionals, mothers, people living all over the world, school teachers, retirees, and everyone in between. Because of our course structure, it's very, very flexible, and you can mix and match based on your availability. There's 3 main parts to the course, and I'll walk you through them. We have Immersion 1, Immersion 2, and then the home study portion of your course. When you're here with us in Barcelona, we have 3 studios and our headquarters are here, so we have quite a lot of resources. Immersion 1 is 1 week long, and Immersion 2 is 2 weeks long. And you break them up, you can schedule between. Usually people will do anywhere from 2 to 6 months between Immersion 1 and Immersion 2. When you're with us here in Barcelona, we focused almost exclusively on practical things. hands-on physical adjustments, practice teaching, applied anatomy, public speaking, all of the things that you just have to be nose to toes with students and teachers and trainees to learn. You can't learn it from a book. You can't learn it in your head. You can't learn it from home. You have to be in the studio. And so we make the most of our practical time together. Now on the flip side, the academics, we do most of our academics at a distance, so at home. And we do it at a really comfortable pace. In my old style of teacher training, and if you look at the standard in the industry, the general style of training is 3 days, 5 days, 7 days of anatomy. You memorize a bunch of bones and muscles and then you forget them after the quiz. The way that we have this structured is it's kind of a slow drip. So a couple hours a week, you're studying at home the anatomy of the knee, for example, nervous system and breathing, for example, the history of yoga, for example, little micro modules. Again, it takes a couple hours per week, and in this way, your academic learning comes in slowly, but very steadily, and you have enough time to digest it, integrate it, remember it, and it actually becomes practical, not just something you learned for an exam. When you're here with us in Barcelona for our first immersion, that first 1 week, we focus primarily on our standing and our finishing sequence, which is a structure, a blueprint structure, from which you can create lots of different class sequences. So using this blueprint structure, you can create a very athletic class, a very restorative class, a hip opening class, a back bending class. So that's our focus for week number 1. When you come back for immersion 2, we have 2 full weeks and we go a lot deeper. The first thing you do is we create together a custom sequence. You create a theme and then you actually teach that class in our studios with real students, real public class. So it's a really fantastic culmination of your training experience. People often do classes with a theme such as back bending, restoration, hip opening, ready, set, crow, shoulder opening sequences. All of these are things that students have done in the past. During your second immersion, we do a lot of business work with you as well. So we help to set up your social media accounts, your Facebook, your Instagram. We help to set up an email list. We help you to create a great CV or a resume and cover letter so you can market yourself well. We help to get your website set up so that you can have a presence locally and even internationally if you're traveling and teaching. We also do professional photos and videos, just like this video you're watching. We'll make a video like this of you. Really, our goal is so that when you finish this course, you have all of the practical yoga skills, knowledge, and of course, real life experience to go out there and teach, but also all of the business skills that you can market yourself. I'm a quintessential yoga bum. I've also been working behind the desk in yoga studios since 2003, 2004. So I know how the hiring process works. I know how to get jobs all over the world. And so we do our best to pass all of that knowledge on to you to give you every advantage we can so you can go out there and be successful. During immersion number 2, we have your final teaching exam. We have an applied anatomy exam, photos, videos. It's a really, really exciting experience. In terms of our goal, it was really by the end of immersion 2, our goal was that you'd walk away from the course ready to go out and start teaching professionally, meaning for money. We've been really excited to see that about half of our trainees actually start teaching between immersion 1 and immersion 2. So it's going even better than we've planned. It's been a really, really exciting journey. In terms of how it works, we have intake for the course on the first of every month. What that means is when you join the course, we send you out a welcome kit to your home, and that has a whole bunch of different yoga body props in there, a block and a strap and massage balls, and it also has your practice journal. It's a physical book that you log your classes in. We get you logged into the e-learning center so you can start with your home studies. We'll introduce you to the other trainees and the trainers in the Facebook group, and we'll get you started with your home study portion of the course. Every Friday in the course, we always have something going on here in Barcelona. We usually live broadcast a class. Join in whenever you can. It's just a great way to stay connected. So even when you're studying at home, everybody loves the idea of studying at home, but nobody likes to feel alone. So we do our best to really keep everybody connected. And that Friday class is a really great way. From there, after you start your e-learning, you can then schedule your first immersion. We have dates every couple of months and we're always adding dates, so there's quite a lot of optionality. You can mix and match based on what works well for your schedule. It's designed to be a 6-month program, but a lot of people are going quicker and they're doing it in 3 or 4 months. And some people, for work or family or personal reasons, they need up to 12 months, and that's okay too. So anywhere from 3 months to 12 months, you can mix and match and piece it together based on what works for you. This is a very unique course. People always often ask me, what is the typical demographics of a student in your course? And I say, our typical student is atypical. They're all over the place. We have students who are in their early 20s and they're in university. We have students in their late 60s who are retirees, and everything in between. I would say the thing that really brings people together to our course is the fact that people are wanting to do something big, make yoga their lifestyle and their livelihood, and they usually have some big plan. There's lots of courses out there where you can sing songs and eat lentils and have a really great kind of adult yoga camp experience, and it's really fun. I'd encourage you to do that. But people usually come to us when they're trying to start a career and when they're looking to make a big shift in their life. So it's a really supportive, international, dynamic community. It's a really positive and supportive community, and it's been really, really fun to be able to create this platform for people to grow. So that's how the program works. I'm excited to connect with you personally. Again, 2 options for next steps. Number 1, if you feel like your questions have been answered, this is the right course for you, scroll down below to complete your application, schedule your start date for e-learning and your start date for your first immersion. If you're not sure, you can put not sure as well. If you still have questions or you just want to talk with me personally, totally happy to give you a call. I chat with students every single day. Click on the link down below and we'll go from there. Thanks so much for your interest in the Yoga Teachers College. I'm excited to welcome you to the program, and I look forward to training with you very soon.